and good evening. Welcome to another edition of Soul Tree Radio in the Raw. I'm Anthony McLean. Glad you were able to join us here on a Thursday evening. Hope your day was well. We will be bringing in Gary Norris Gray and Michael Lewis Ingram in just a few. Just want to set the scene for tonight. We're going to be talking, this is one of those times of the year where basically you got all four major sports going on. Of course, baseball into its second full week of games. We are literally 3 weeks away tonight from the NFL draft, and both the NBA, NHL are in the final stages of their regular season. Mr. Ovechkin is 3 goals away from catching and tying Wayne Gretzky. And how amazing is that? Who would have thought 10, 20 years ago that someone would actually be approaching the great one's goal record? And of course, we'd be remiss. It's the eve of the men's and women's Final Four. Women's Final Four commences in Tampa tomorrow night. And then the men follow on Saturday with the women's championship game on Sunday, and then the men's championship game on Monday night. Again, it's that time of the year. It's that time of the year where everything and anything is going on. So looking forward to in here now. Okay, we're gonna bring in Gary.
What happened?
No. He said you're there. You're there, right, Gary? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I there. I right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We're good. We're waiting for Michael to come in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's the first? Well, again, we got so much stuff going on right now between, this is that time of the year where you got all four major sports going on. What's your big thing right now, Gary?
Okay. The question I have for the audience is, Ovechkin, is he the greatest player ever, or is Wayne Gretzky the greatest player ever? See?
I still think Gretzky is the greatest player.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think, let's put it this way: Ovechkin has definitely carved out his own niche. I think we could make the argument that he maybe he's possibly the greatest player to come from Russia to thrive. He should be in the argument. I don't, there may be some folks that say that in a sense, he was he's been hanging on, but the guy's got almost 40 goals this year. So it's not a thing where this is not Willie Mays or Kareem, looking bad at the end. He is still a top flight player in this game. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He's not he's not hanging on for dear life. He's still one of the leading scorers in the game. So you got to give him his due. Maybe he's not Gretzky, but the fact that he is still productive and will possibly break this thing before the regular season's over with speaks volumes. And we do have Michael Ingram now, and Mike. Gary was basically asking, do we look at Ovechkin as an all-time great along with Gretzky, or what say you on the matter?
I agree. He's all-time. And you got to remember something. Ovechkin is very un-Russian. He came into the league a hockey player, and he wasn't supposed to do anything more than a hockey player is supposed to do. Score goals, score points, win games, etc., etc. But Ovechkin has been an ambassador for the game. Washington was one of the franchises that really thought about its fan base from the moment that they came into the league. Because they have black people in Washington, they tried to set us up with people like Matt Morrison and Bill Riley. And of course, that didn't come off, but they were at least thinking about the black fans. And they were fans. Reggie Savage was another one. But the bottom line was whoever they had to represent the team was going to be like ambassadors. And Ovechkin embraced that. He liked the fact that maybe it was part of the culture that black people liked the fact that he was good at what he did. And it was one of those game respect game things. Ovechkin pushed the Capitals, and some black people actually liked hockey. And he didn't think about the fact that, well, no, black people don't like hockey. He thought about their fans too. And he acted that way. And I think because of that, he was given serious consideration as a human being and an athlete. And that's what I think.
The reason why
Okay.
I asked that question is because Wayne Gretzky had Yari Curry and Messier and all those guys and everything. He had a crew that could help him score. Whereas Ovechkin, he had to do it basically on his own. He had guys. He had the offensive firepower at the able to deliver that.
Ovechkin had firepower. He didn't have as much. I don't think anybody has had as much as Edmonton had during those years. But Dmitry Orlov as a defenseman, and there was another guy. I can't remember his name, but he was wearing 92. He was a constant on his line, and he played well as well. I think he was traded to Colorado. But the bottom line was Ovechkin, he tooted his own horn, and he listened to the beat of his own drummer. Gretzky was very Canadian, very, very proper, and, he was like almost standoffish. You couldn't relate to him. Everybody could relate to Ovechkin because he was in the whole thing with the Washington fans.
Yeah.
They thought of him as one of their guys. If you're Canadian and you're from Edmonton, Gretzky was one of your guys. But that's it. Canada didn't look at him, I don't think, as this is the best. He assumed he was the best, and they followed along with that premise. He was not a guy who would be someone that you could come up to and say, "What's up, Wayne? Can I get an autograph?" Ovechkin gave you that vibe that he could.
And the fact that he has basically been the face of this franchise from the day he was picked. Remember, he was the number 1 overall pick when he got in there. He had his growing pains early on, but he the thing is, he thrived. I think the fact that he was able to hang out long enough to get a cup, and remember, the Capitals have had notorious playoff runs. They were one of those teams that got the President's Cup a couple of times and literally got eliminated. A month after they won it. And he has seen, he's seen basically everything. He's seen, they've gotten knocked out in the first round. They've gone to the finals 2 times and they've won it. And it's a perfect storm for the franchise as well, because they're celebrating now. They're now celebrating their 50th anniversary as well as a franchise. So it speaks, a lot to, again, if someone had told you 15, 20 years ago that anyone would be this close to breaking Gretzky's goal record, I mean, you would, there's no way you would have even thought that. Want to also welcome now from Jersey City Media, Patrick Gaurav. Patrick, how are you, sir?
Yo, guys, usually I have makeup on, but I just came out the car, man. I just came out the car, man.
Well,
You see all the
don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. This is my third face of the day, so you're
all,
good. You're good.
all the
You're
all the
good.
gray hairs and all the wrinkles. So. How you guys doing, man? It's been a while, man. It's been a while. It's been a while. And busy. You've been busy.
Yeah.
I've been busy.
We were talking about Ovechkin, Alexander Ovechkin, 3 goals away from tying Wayne. I mean, again, would you have thought 15, 20 years ago that someone would have come even this close to Gretzky's goal record?
I'm not a hockey follower, but one thing I did admire, any guy that wins the MVP 9 straight years in hockey, I don't care any sport, you're a bad somebody. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Gretzky did. I said, I just watched him. I said, this guy is something else. So I've always admired and respected him, and he respected the game, and he respected, the sport and the people that watched it. So this guy, Ovechkin, comes in, and even though I'm not a hockey follower, I said, well, he's doing something that's monumental that should be respected and held in high regard, man. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
You know what?
Absolutely.
I almost forgot about this, but Patrick, you reminded me. Alexander Ovechkin participated in hockey in Harlem, which is the thing they had always used to dance into the sport. And let's be real. He's not afraid of black people. There's so many white athletes that, like, they're around black people, they freak the fuck out. And Ovechkin is like, hey, what's up? He was inclusive. And his attitude was, you like hockey? Good, let's play. And you don't get that same nod from Gretzky. Even from Sidney Crosby. We want to recognize Sidney Crosby has spent 20 years scoring at least a point a game. He's had 20 years of over 80 points. That's pretty damn good. I'm not a Sidney Crosby fan. Go Flyers. Bottom line was, Ovechkin, Batman Pajama, and he really has been good for the game.
Well, it's good.
And the one thing I think, the one thing that Crosby and Ovechkin have over Gretzky, they've been able to stay at their franchise their entire season. Edmonton basically had to trade Gretzky to save the franchise.
Yeah,
that's true.
He wound up, and again, he wound up playing for the Kings. Of course, he had that brief stint with the Blues, and then he ended his career with the Rangers. But Crosby, even through all the concussions and whatever, he's been with Pittsburgh. And Ovechkin, like I said, he's been the face of the Capitals forever. And like what I was saying before, this is a perfect storm for the franchise because not only is he, setting to break history, this is the 50th anniversary of the franchise, and they've been celebrating that all year with different giveaways and everything. So it's no matter, I'm sure even though I know the Capitals want to see him get it, I think in the back of their minds, if you're going to play the NFL sort of greedy bastard motion, you kind of want him to get 2 goals and see if he gets it next year, because of course the playoff stuff won't count for overall, but it's a pretty fun story. I'm just in awe because we're all old enough to remember the merger back in '79, and like Patrick said, in regard to the 9 Ross trophies and the MVPs and everything. When Gretzky left, he left such an incredible legacy in the NHL, and the fact that someone that was a contemporary of his is now going to break one of his records, I think it speaks volumes. And I have to, and I also, as much as it pains me to say anything nice about Gary Bettman, the league has done a very good job promoting this. They really have, especially I know on a lot of instances, they've come out with special packages and everything, retrospects, and I believe all their remaining games are going to be able to be seen nationally, whether it's whether it's Turner or
Yep.
ESPN. So we'll be able. So if you
Well,
really want to see him break this, you'll be able to see it.
Tony, you bring up a good point. You know, you got to remember, Gretzky had serious help. Yari Curry, Glenn Anderson, Mark Messier,
That's what I said.
Kevin Lowe, Grant Fuhrer. I mean, he had an army of stars. Ovechkin has had Dmitry Orlov, this other guy whose name I can't remember, but was wearing 92. Carlson, the defenseman, who was a high-scoring defenseman, by the way. And he's never really had major backup. And in spite of all that, Washington's hockey team is looked at as a positive. In a city where their football team sucks, their basketball team sucks even more, and the baseball team should have been named after a Negro League team. The Washington Capitals are the one shining light in the local area sports teams.
Well,
Well, again,
Tony, I just think it's good for sports. Period.
Yeah, absolutely,
That's my whole thing. You know, like I said before, I'm not a hockey follower, but if he has that record, I mean, that's good for sports. With all the other minutiae out there that you don't even want to deal with, this is something that's positive, and you know, I'll watch it because of the fact that it has so much competency and favor to the sport and for sports fans. I'm telling you, even though I haven't covered a hockey game in 20 years because it's just too damn cold. However, wait.
Even in April, it's too damn cold. But that's a whole other story.
See, Mike, watch this, Mike. The last hockey game cover I had was with the New Jersey Devils, and guess who I covered? Claude Velgreen.
Oh, damn, that was a long time ago.
Good Lord.
Oh, my Lord.
Man.
Was on Ace.
There have been new leagues started and disbanded.
I told you, man, it's been a while.
That happened.
Too cold, boy. However, I'm going to do a hockey story. I'm working on one now. Make a long story short. There's a school in Jersey City, McNair, which is known, you know, nationally because it's high academics. And they, make a long story short, they have a hockey team. But the trick is, now this hockey in Jersey is no joke. But the trick is hockey, the team in McNair, because they have a small population, they were able to juxtapose and get together with the city of Bayonne to play on Bayonne's team.
Oh my goodness!
That ain't it.
That's a bit of a haul too, isn't it? From
big time.
Yeah.
Not that much of a haul. That's not that much of a haul. Here's the trick.
Okay.
The team has women, girls, and boys playing. So I said, hell no. And then the athletic director of McNair, who was a former D1 athlete and soccer and softball, told me, she said, Patrick, the starter team is one of the girls. I said, wait. She's the fastest thing on ice.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a story on her. So that's what, you know, stretch the idea of what hockey's going on. If she can play, I'm doing the story on her.
Sure. And you know what? I'd be remiss also, you know, we talked about how all the four major sports going on. The NCAA Division I's Frozen Four is also going on this weekend as well. So again, this just adds to it. You know, we talked about the Final Four. We will definitely get to the men's and women's Final Four, but I want to talk a little baseball. And again, open up. We'll go ahead and open up Pandora's box. And
I know it pains you to talk about those.
Yeah, and you know what's even more sacrilegious, Patrick? I'm actually watching the game. I'm actually watching their game tonight. Now, granted, there's only one other game going on. But see, I made a pact with my dad after before he passed. I said, near the end when he was sick, I made it a point to make sure I watched all the games, And I begrudgingly listen to Mon Pa Kettle, otherwise known as Susan Waldman and John Sterling. But I have to admit, I've made it a point to catch Dave Sims doing the radio game, doing a great job early on as is.
Wouldn't
But
expect anything
of course,
different.
that's not the main story. Of course, coming out of the Bronx, it's these ugly ass bats that they're using to the bazooka bats or whatever. And just as we're speaking, Chaz Chisholm just hit his 4th home run of the year as we're speaking here. But
think about this, Tony. What's going to be more intriguing? The fact that you got a bat that will allow you to hit a ball even farther. Here we go. We were chicks did the long ball to like, fuck the long ball. What's up with this bat? Because that's the deal. Because you got the guy. What's going to be one that's more powerful? A guy on steroids hitting the ball out the park, or somebody?
Well, Mike, let me ask this question. And Tony, do you think the bat affects that kind of impact on the ball?
I was wondering about
me personally, I don't think so. Me personally, I the thing that gets me, again, they look like they're softball bats, right. And they look like some of these they're like, if you follow college baseball, the head of it looks that
was the key.
But see, the thing is, even with all of that, and even like with the steroid guys, whatever, you still have to hit the ball.
Amen.
I mean, it's the sort of thing where it's not like these guys are doing a check swing and hitting the ball 500 feet.
Yeah,
you still have to hit it on the sweet spot and all of that. But again, and when we were show prepping, my thing was, the cynic in me says, if this was, say, Seattle or Minnesota, or God forbid the Houston Astros doing this, I think Major League Baseball would have banned it immediately. Now, early on, they said, okay, no problem. They're not doing anything illegal. And to be fair, in watching all the games this week, the Yankees aren't the only team that are using them. I saw Max Muncy with the Dodgers. Several other players are using these, but
the teams are ordering the bats as we speak right now. And it made me think about when Sammy Sosa got busted when he hit the ball and all those balls jumped out the court bat.
Well, I tell you, it's what got me intrigued is when they went to the idea of how the bats were made. I was talking to Tony earlier this before we got on about everybody who knows me knows I'm because of the football prowess I had, but I love baseball. I was even a better baseball player, and I used the bat, the Nellie Fox bat.
All right,
and that was a hammer. And I always wonder why folks are using it more often. Well, they want more speed in the bat because of the fastballs, guys throwing 90. But I think the whole issue around the bat is the fact is, like Tony, we talked this earlier. If you ain't hitting it, what difference does it make?
It was a perfect storm. Go, Gary.
No, I understand that. The Giants struck out 14 times.
There you go.
Yeah, Saturday.
There you go. Yeah, and our Lord and Savior, Aaron Judge, is not even using the bat. He's the one guy on the team that isn't using the bats. Again, it's one of those things where, if you ask any major league player or any baseball player, the key with a bat is you want something, number one, that you want to be able to come around on your swing. You do not want you don't want to be a millisecond slow going through the range. Now, not everybody can be like John Henry, aka Dick Allen, who can basically get a Florida redwood tree and use that as his bat for But it's the sort of thing where I guess it's it's more of a. I think it's more psychological than anything else. And again, if it had been any other team besides the Yankees, I don't know if it would be even. And yeah, I don't. And I don't say that to be little. It's a perfect storm because they're at home. They set a team record for most home runs in a game. They had had the first three guys in the lineup on Saturday's game. I guess was the Rosetta Stone thing with this because they beat the Brewers 20-6. And oh, by the way, the Brewers pitching staff, God, we're only in the first week of the season, and I think they have all four of our numbers on speed dial just in case they need us to pitch before the year is over. But oh man, put it this way: Nestor Cortez is probably going to have neck surgery before the season is over with because looking at all those home runs that's been given up.
That was cold-blooded. Former Yankee.
Yeah, it was sort of like, hey Nestor, nice to see you. How?
Take this to your mama. Yeah,
really. Take that. Take that with you. But yeah, it's one of those things. Look, we've seen this with the Yankees several years where they get a week or two where they look like Murderers Row and the Gas House Gorillas all rolled into one. But and usually the first week of the season notorious for rainouts and overreactions and everything like that. But big picture wise, I don't know if they'll be able to sustain it. Although, like I said, just as we were starting to talk about it, Chaz Chisholm went deep. But again, with the Yankees, they're going to go as far as their pitching will take them. They can slug with anybody in the league. There's no doubt about that, and they've already proven that. But see, there's going to come a time this year where they're going to struggle to score runs, and for Yankee fans' sake, you hope it doesn't happen in the postseason. Now, we may be a bit presumptuous saying that they're already going to make the postseason. I mean, I think they will. I mean, barring something silly, they should get in. But the thing, Mike, I think the thing with them now, I mean, it's not about the regular season anymore now. It's about winning or losing a World Series now.
Well, that's what they have to do. They have to win a World Series. The football mentality that we've seen in the league is where some teams will coast because they got a good squad. The Yankees have to win. They know it. They have to do it as a mandate to their fans because the fans truly believe that the championship is theirs by divine right.
And that's the problem. That's what the problem is.
Yeah, even if it's not true, they think.
And the Dodgers again, baseball likes predictability. They love predictability. Dodgers, Yankees, they love this.
Yep. And the TV loves it too because of the two major markets.
Yep.
Sure. And Patrick, how much fatalistic, not fatalist, but how much is it incumbent upon the Yankees winning this year because a certain guy that wears number 22 is in Flushing now?
Well, first of all, before I get to that, your points are all well taken, but we can condense them into one thing. After losing to the World Series, what we're talking about with all the adorations of the bats, and they have to be relevant again because they went out. It was nasty how they went out. Then they blame it on what got me. I got two Yankee fans in the studio. You got Tony, you man. That they were pissed off because of how the Dodgers acted after the World Series. So what? Big deal. It's a new season. Let's get started.
Get over here. Get over yourselves.
Wait. After him, we got 27 World Series, and now you want to talk smack? You want to talk because please? So 22 left because somebody messed with his mama. He says, "I'm out of here." You
No
know that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You didn't know about that?
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
there were issues at Yankee Stadium where Soto's family was being a little bit disrespected. He
Yep.
said, "Oh, really? Okay, I'm out of here." Not that that's the sole reason, but it damn sure helped out. That's for sure.
Well, they have better empanadas in Queens than they do in the Bronx. So
Well,
How you know that,
if
Mike?
you there's I don't know if you guys have seen this. There's a show on, I guess, MLB production that it's been called The Process, and
Mhm.
it basically goes over the off season between the Mets and the Yankees. And to piggyback on what Patrick said, there was a thing, and I guess it was also the uncle
I
as
knew
well,
that. Mhm.
because I don't know if it was a ticket thing or what have you, but I guess either during the playoffs or the World Series, they were getting certain, players' families, of course, get seats and everything. But apparently, they either made them, they either changed their seats or something to that effect, and apparently, Soto wasn't so much peeved as it was the family,
Mm.
because and see, their thing was, look, this is they never tried to play the whole thing of, this is a rental, right? But as it got near, and then the way it ended, it's sort of it's sort of mushroomed. Now, my thing has always been, if the boss was still alive, Soto probably would have been signed at midseason.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
I agree.
the fact that the Yankees, I will always, because see, let's face it, and yeah, this is the Met fan in me coming out.
Amen.
I mean, think about it. This is the first time that the Mets and the Yankees were basically fighting for the same player, and the Mets won out. You would have never seen this happen over the years. You would have, and the fact
you never had the Mets match the Yankees dollar for dollar either. And this situation with Soto was far and above matching dollar for dollar. Soto's got the richest contract in sports, at least in North America. He does.
for now.
675 million. Those were numbers. No baseball.
615.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, right. Well,
Yeah,
there's no
615, 620. I mean, what's 6 billion between friends?
yeah. The long and short of it is, we've almost hit the fact that he's a $1 billion player. Now, will Patrick Mahomes get a $1 billion contract when it's revised? I don't know. But Soto damn sure is close to it. And it's a lot closer than anybody ever thought he would. And nobody ever thought that baseball would kick out that kind of cash.
Now, Mike, I got in a discussion with at the Big East with one or two guys I know who are baseball guys.
Okay.
And we're in the press room before it was at the game that St. John's won the first one. And they started talking about baseball in the press room. A good conversation came up. And I said, I'm happy for the man making that money. But he ain't worth $715 million.
Thank you.
He ain't never won an MVP. He's never won a batting championship. He's never won the World Series. Why are they paying $715 million? But if you can get it, take it.
You want me to answer that as a journalist, or you want me to answer that as a Met fan?
I appreciate that, because we have a lot of different answers.
I'll say this. As a Met fan, this was the most important signing that Steve Cohen was going to get a chance to do. You only got one, that you only had one opportunity to do this. Now, if you remember how the Correa thing played out terribly, and there was still a a lot of bitterness the way that ended and whatever. And we got to address the elephant in the room. That one being Scott Boras, because he was Boras was Correa's agent.
True.
He's of course he was Soto's agent, and he formerly, and I must say it like that, formerly Pete Alonso's agent as well.
That's
Yep.
where
You know?
I go.
And see, two things happened when the Mets basically overpaid him. Scott Boras got a chubby, basically thinking, "Oh, if they're going to give Soto this, they'll give the polar bear,
Yep.
so many things." But
Mhm.
as he's done several times over the years, he didn't read the room, because Alonso had a very good postseason, but he was coming off of, to be nice, a mediocre season.
Right.
And they want, the thing is, even with Uncle Steve having all the bucks, he doesn't want to, he didn't want to be the next Gene Autry, the next Peter Angelos, and just pay and pay and pay and pay. And what was it? Plus the fact Boras and Alonso were basically bidding against themselves, because all those phantom offers that we heard from the Cubs and the Mariners were never really there. And they literally had to come back kicking and scratching and say, "Okay, we'll sign you. We'll give you another year, but we're gonna make you sing for your supper." And by the way, remember, Vlade in Toronto ain't happy.
Yeah.
And see,
great point.
that's the double-edged. That's the see.
Great point.
That's the thing. To me, that's the wild card in this. Now, again, it's early on, and Alonso so far has had a decent season, but he's playing for, if he thought he was playing for his supper last year, he's playing for it even more so, because they've already got a plan B on south of the border. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Now, and I agree with you, Patrick. It's an overpay, but for the first time in like forever, the Mets are getting somebody literally at the peak of his career. I mean, remember, he's already won the World Series and all the other stuff. And yes, he hasn't won an MVP, but they're getting arguably one of the top, I'll say one of the top 10 players. I wouldn't say top 5, probably top 10, because he's a very good ball player. There's no doubt about that.
No doubt about that.
Leaves a lot to, not the greatest fielder of all time. Let's put it his way. He's not going to be mentioned with Roberto Clemente fielding wise.
But hitting wise, definitely.
Hitting wise, and see the fact that he is a lifetime 300 hitter at Citi Field, I think that played a lot into it as well. And I just think it was, this was just, it's like the old Eminem song. You get that one shot to in a sense beat the bully across the hall. You got to do it.
You got that right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gentlemen, could it be a possibility that all 4 teams in the Western Conference get the playoffs?
Ooh.
Well, they're all 500 right now. I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, the Padres start has probably been overshadowed because the Dodgers have gotten off to such a great start. But see, unfortunately, the Padres, the Padres go through what the Mets go through. They're always going to be little brother to the Dodgers, and the ironic thing was last year in the playoffs, the Padres had the Dodgers right where they wanted them, and they couldn't pull it off. And it's until they, now I know they knocked them off a couple years back, but then they wound up losing in the National League Championship Series. But the thing with them, it's sort of like a Mets. It's sort of like a Mets Yankees thing. You will have your fan base, but you will,
Most definitely.
it's old money versus
I
new
was
money.
talking
It's
to
old money versus new money, and you're never
someone recently
really
concerning,
gonna
matter of fact, it
get
was
that.
today.
Well,
Yeah.
I asked that question because the Giants are 5-1, and they have looked very impressive in that week. Their pitching, their rotation is solid. That's a solid rotation now. I want to see what they're gonna do because it could be a three-way race in that West Division.
Well, before you
And remember the
Well,
the D-backs are only a
have we
year
looked at the
removed from
Athletics
going.
this year up in Sacramento?
Yeah, they're playing there.
Patrick is reading my mind. Gary, I want to ask. Sacramento is like what, hours drive away from Oakland? Are you going to go see them play?
I am not going to Sacramento. I refuse to go to Sacramento.
Okay.
I will go to San Jose and see San Jose Giants before I go see Oakland.
How can they convince
Gary will not lose his wallet in El Segundo this year.
Well,
Don't talk about that.
I'm playing, Gary. I gotta wonder, how can Major League Baseball cover this bullshit up? You got a franchise that's playing in a minor league park. If they
Remember, Mike. Remember, you got two teams this year playing in a minor league park. Tampa is playing in the Yankees minor league facility.
That's right. If this is AAA, we'd have no problem with this. But this is the major leagues. You're talking major league money. You're talking major league TV contracts. How the hell can you maintain fan bases if you've got teams that are already snake bit by the fact that they can't get people into the damn park?
Mike, I can go on, Gary. Come on, Gary.
No, I was going to say that the NBC Sports Network, pulled their sports programming. The Bay Area cannot see NBC Sports Network Bay Area anymore. You have to pay $150 more to go to see that channel now. I'm not doing it.
For cable?
Yeah. No, you
Oh
pay,
my.
you pay the cable bill. No, wait, you pay the cable bill. They got to pay this extra $150 for that station.
Damn.
They got to be crazy. They got to be mind.
That's just.
I mean, for that much money, they should drive you to Sacramento to go see the game.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Well, that's why these streaming services are making a killing. I mean, they got you can see the Minnesota Twins this year. All the games for $99 for streaming.
Yep. The Twins, the Rangers, the Pirates, the Padres. I believe there might be two others, but and then when you add the fact that this season's the last season with their affiliation with ESPN, I'm just curious, Patrick, there's a part of me that says that even that even though it's officially supposed to be over, why do I feel like that they may still have a role with Major League Baseball?
I think Deion Sanders recorded a song called "Must Be the Money." I think that there are things going on from what I've read in the publications and websites and the people I know that ain't dead yet, because of the fact that, and the reason why, one of the reasons why, to me, is the basic reason why the cable numbers for ESPN has dropped exponentially. Now, one of the linchpins is across the board is baseball, but you're gonna have to pay up, and they're gonna work something out. So I don't think it's dead yet, personally.
Yeah, I even though they came up with the announcement and all the other stuff,
100%.
I just could see. I don't could see. Let's put it this way: only thing to me that could be a saving grace is if they make it all streaming. And baseball, I don't think baseball is willing to bite that bullet
Not yet.
to have all of their games being streamed
You're
because
right.
they still,
agree.
they still, even though they believe they're lion eyes, they still believe that they're the national pastime
That's
in
true.
their eyes. We all know
That's
it's
true.
football, yeah, but
That's true.
and see, I don't think they'll go groveling like say the NBC and say, please bring back the game of the week. I think
So-
I think
In the old days of cable, I didn't mean to cut you off. In the old days of
No,
cable,
no.
when you were loading up, you could get the Philadelphia station, the
Yeah.
Boston station.
Yeah.
I mean, you were getting sports from 3 different cities. Oh,
Yeah.
and yes, so you had access to all that.
Yeah.
If they're offering streaming for the baseball club, that's like a Go Pass back in the old high school days. You can see a Knick game for $1.50. You know, that's what's happening. Streaming is what's happening. You can watch all 82 games at home, if for your Mets, for what would be roughly $1.50 a game. That's a hell of a deal. That's
And-
not bad at all.
and
And if
Mike-
other people are gonna do the same thing, you're inviting themselves to a new revenue stream rather than taking money out your pocket.
And I might say
Mhm.
throwing the regional network apparatus for several teams
Oh man.
back into play. Back into play.
Yeah. And how ironic is it that all of those old Bally, all those old Fox networks are now under the FanDuel Sports umbrella.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, betting money can do that to you.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh yeah.
that may, if by some chance they aren't able to, kiss and make up with ESPN, like Mike said, when you given the gambling angle, and let's face it, they're going to make a ton of money just off the Dodger games from the folks
Lord have
overseas that are
mercy.
going to watch anything and everything that Ohtani does. Plus the fact you have multiple players, Oriental players in
Yeah.
baseball, so that's going to add to teams like the Cubs and others. But let's put it this way. I agree with you, Patrick. I don't think their days with ESPN are completely over. I think they're going to come. ESPN is going to force them to be like, okay, you literally may have to pay us or whatever. Now these deals with Apple and
Netflix.
the individual, and Amazon. Even though it's just the Yankees, you've got to know that when you see what Amazon is doing now with the NFL, with the NBA coming up this next season
Yeah.
as well, you got to know that they're going to go to both Apple and Amazon. But see, again, they're literally cutting off their nose to spite their face, because baseball, for the most part, is still the only sport where you can occasionally watch a free game, various times during the week. And I just don't think that they'll completely go all ham on streaming unless, I'll put it this way. Now they already have individual packages for all the teams. Like Mike said, there are packages where if you just want to watch just the Mets, or if you just want to watch the Guardians, or if you just want to watch the Mariners or what have you, you pay, and it is literally less than the price of general admission. But the thing about baseball, to me, and I think I speak for all of us here as old-time baseball fans, there's still something about sitting and watching there's still something about watching the games live, of course.
Yes.
But there's still something about watching the game at your leisure at home.
Mhm.
And I think if baseball, I don't think baseball. I just come around and say I don't think baseball has the balls to go all streaming. I'll just say
don't.
that.
They don't. They would only do it out of desperation because the gambling factor answered the major question for us. Which event generates the most money, the Super Bowl or the NCAA tournament? We got our answer. It's the NCAA tournament. We're talking humongous money, goo gobs of money from basketball. All the stuff that football made, it doesn't even come close. As much as I love my Eagles win the Super Bowl, I know they didn't bet half as much money as everybody betting on brackets for the NCAA tournament, men's and women's.
And by the way, Mike, and by the way, Mike, folks next year might have to give up some of their Christmas presents because the NFL announced that they're going to have 3 football games on,
Christmas
on this
Day.
coming Christmas.
Mhm.
They
Yeah,
ain't
yeah.
doing that for nothing, yo.
Yeah, put it
I
like
bet
that.
that's
That
even-
that
that's
noise
what-
you that noise you hear in the background is Alan Silver going, damn, damn, damn. Because they had Christmas Day. The NBA had Christmas Day all
To
to themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and now literally the Wicked Witch from Park Avenue has said,
Do you
"Hold
think,
on there,
I
Baba
tell you
Louie."
now,
Get that
I tell you
shit.
now,
That's right.
they gonna put that schedule for Christmas to the max. They're gonna have the Lakers against the Celtics, the Knicks against They're gonna have. That's what they're gonna do, man. That's what they're gonna do because they got now they got competition.
Yeah. If
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing the NBA is probably going to have to do less
They
games just so they
have no
won't take
choice.
such a bath.
It's a money grab,
Yeah.
fellas. Big time.
Well,
Yeah,
it's they play. You got to remember now. You got the NFC East. You got brothers at every quarterback in the division. You got Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, and Washington, all with black field generals. And now you're gonna put them on, say, a Christmas menu. I mean, everybody's gonna watch. There's no doubt about that. It's all come out of the Giants' hands now, and it's all in Park Avenue's hands. The brothers are controlling the network.
And Mike, I'll say this, Mike. They have this adjustable schedule thing now attached to the league.
Flex, that's right.
That flex schedule. Don't be
you know,
surprised if they change it toward the end of the year. We're going to switch games. Don't be surprised.
Right.
well, see, the thing, the story. Now, there was a story that moved earlier this week. Apparently, there's an opt-out clause for the current NFL TV contract, which makes it so that they can renegotiate what now mind you, this I believe this goes to 2033 to 2034 or what have you. I mean, look, I understand it, but wouldn't that be a sort of a foolish gamble on the NFL's part to try and renegotiate? I mean, it's not like they have a terrible deal.
No,
Why would you?
the NFL's in greedy bastard mode.
Yeah, I mean,
It's all they can get and then some.
I think it can be capitalized by saying this: you do it because you can.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess, but and yeah. See, I've been crying Chicken Little for the longest time with the NFL that they're going to kill this golden goose. But yeah, I know, I get it, and like you said, they can, but
Tony, let me tell you this: the female factor in NFL football numbers will blow your mind.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm not. Oh no. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Even it didn't take them wearing these pink jerseys on for cancer awareness as well to make the changes over it.
Yep. And a hidden factor is, and I don't know the exact number, but the hidden factor is, it's more than because we know the females led the way in buying merchandise, not buying the merch, but they are they are women's clubs who are involved in NFL football betting every week to numbers I had no idea.
You better believe it.
Yeah,
Like I said, that
yeah,
gambling
yeah,
is no
yeah.
joke. And you got to remember, the NFL has created revenue streams out of nothing. Literally, the draft was something that the four of us would go to, and we would sit in the felt form and talk about player A as opposed to player B, and eat M&Ms and drink soda. But that ain't like that anymore.
No more.
It's a traveling road show that generates millions, or as Donald Trump would say, millions and millions of dollars, because they got it like that.
And Mike, already it's anywhere between $30 and $50 million for Green Bay.
Yes,
For Green Bay.
who the hell wants to go to Green Bay? But they're gonna go because the fan base.
Yeah.
And remember, Green Bay's publicly owned. So if any Green Bay fan has Packers stock, it just grew a little bit and put a little more cash in their pocket, and they're just loving all this shit.
And there are group, and so there are groups of people who we saw every year, guys, going to the draft. They're now going to the draft into the city. And initially I was taken back because I love going to the draft. But somebody who came up with the idea is now vice president, or now branched off into his own consulting company with the idea of pushing out the draft to different cities. It's now more than just the draft. It's folks going to that town and exploring and checking out the town along with the draft.
Yeah.
And the other thing that it does for the league, now look, everybody can't host the Super Bowl, but anybody can host the draft. And that has become almost like the second glamour event next to the Super Bowl now. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out the shenanigans that they're doing on Pro Bowl weekend. Take the hit, y'all. Just take the hit. Stop it already. Somebody's gonna get, you're gonna have another Robert Edwards thing happen on this, and then you're gonna be like, oh, my bad. No, stop it. Just stop it. Stop it.
It's played out. It's played out.
It's put it this way. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Pat.
I tell you one thing. What might replace it is now this NFL Pro Flag League is growing leaps and bounds.
Yes, flag.
Well, they might have them play representing the teams that are and individuals that are in the game. That's an idea that's going out, and I'll leave it at that for right now. Because you know what the other thing is, Patrick? They're talking about trying to maybe have some NFL at the Olympics within 4 to 5 years. I did the NFL high school flag media day at Jet Stadium, at MetLife Stadium. That 2 years ago, they had 16 teams. They now have 167 teams.
Wow.
160
and growing too, right?
And growing. I mean, it's you said high school football media day for flag football, fellas. You don't know that bad boy is blowing up.
Well, it again, because it incorporates and it goes back to what you were talking about with the female influence on the game now. You've seen that commercial where they show the young lady who's just as fast as say OJ in his prime and doing all the things and everything like that. So it's the NFL has basically become Midas in the sense where literally and figuratively anything and everything they touch now turns into $1 million. And it's crazy. Go.
And anytime you're going to Brazil to do a game, I mean, I like to go to Brazil anyway. Forget the game, but that's next. Come on, man.
Well,
you know the other city they're talking about too now? Abu Ghraib.
Oh, that's
Abu Ghraib. That's real.
That's a given.
We've had Brazil.
Yeah. Thank you, and I thank you, LIV Golf.
We
That's
had
a
Brazil.
given.
We had Germany, Abu Dhabi, and now they're talking Australia in 2026.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
how down under can you get? Football is king. There's no question about that. And gambling is king. And the fact that you're going to have I don't know if Goodell will get his wish and get a international league where you get all these other teams from everywhere else.
You're
But
sniffing.
the long and short of it is, it's definitely in the works. I don't know if Condoleezza Rice will be the commissioner, but anything that's got to do with the NFL making money is in the hands of people who have nothing to do with the NFL right now.
But the only thing is, Mike, the only reason why I don't think they'll do another international league is that, in a sense, now they've been given enough international games now where I don't know if they'll accept a non-NFL game now. I mean, they'll still go.
I'm inclined to agree with you, Tony. It's just that the action is something that people didn't think about early on, but now it's too inviting to them. I can't see what are the angles that happen if Philly plays Washington in Australia. What's the odds on that? How the travel time factor comes into all this, how the body difference in terms of biorhythms make it. You know, we used to talk about how Seattle used to have problems when they had to fly from Seattle
Those
to
four, yeah, those 10 a.m. 1 o'clock, those 10 a.m. / 1 o'clock starts in the east. Yep.
Right. Now we're in an era where the NFL is going to eventually get that extra game. It's going to go to 18 games. It's going to go 2 buys during the course of the season, and the NFL is going to be half a year. And forget about the other postseason stuff. You got 6 months of football. You got 2 months after that for the draft, and then another month or so after that, and you're back in camp again.
Don't forget, don't forget the underwear Olympics to lead up to the draft too. Now
That's right.
And you had the UFL between March and April, May.
Yes.
I think me and a couple of nuns from Schenectady were actually watching a couple of the games this weekend. Considering all the stuff that was going on, it's sort of like UFL. Okay, yeah, man.
Oh,
It's sort of you know, the UFL gets sort of treated like an ex-girlfriend. It's like I'll call you. I promise I'll call you back. I promise I'll call you back. I promise. I will.
Tony sound me like you know what you're talking about, man.
there's been a trade.
I'm gonna be like Dave Chappelle. I'm pleading the fifth. FIF.
There's been a trade. There's been a trade.
Really. Before we get out of here, we gotta touch on the tournaments, otherwise known as the SEC SEC Invitational. You know, and we talked about ratings, and the ratings dipped during the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8, and a lot of people are akinning it to the fact that you did not have a Cinderella. And of course, for the first time since 2008, we have all number 1 seeds at the Final Four. And even on the women's side, if not for Juju Watkins' injury, we might have had 4 number 1s in the women's as well.
Tony, that's why it might have dipped a little bit during that period of the Final 8. It's going to be happening this weekend with all 4 teams, because all 4 teams, big time, and the fact that Duke is in them. Oh my goodness! Last week here in Jersey, you thought we were down in North Carolina. They were all over the place.
Yeah. This is, you know, I'm taking. I never thought I would. I thought it would be another while before I would say this, but heading into the weekend, anybody but Duke.
Same here. And then,
Anybody but Duke. I'll even think about buying a Confederate flag just to see Duke not win it.
Oh
If
my
that's the
God.
case.
no,
Oh
don't
my
do that.
Well,
But,
Chalk
you know,
played all this tournament. Chalk played
Yeah,
the whole
forget.
tournament. But
this past weekend, this weekend of the Western Conference Final in San Francisco. San Francisco made more money in 3 days than they made all year.
Mhm.
All year.
Now is that now that's the Warriors arena they were playing at? Am I right, Gary?
Yeah, Chase
Wow.
Center. Chase
Well,
Center. Yeah.
Gary just further mentioned what I believe. The NCAA tourney makes more money from a gambling standpoint than the Super Bowl. I used to always think they kind of ran neck and neck, but
Yeah,
Final Four and March Madness bypasses all that by a huge. It's not even close now.
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
large.
yeah. More volume. More volume.
That's it.
Literally
That's
more
right.
volume.
and
You know,
not,
you could
and you're right, Troy.
Go
More
ahead.
volume. Not only more volume. You corrected that, but also it's speculative. We don't know who's going to win.
Yes.
Yeah. The favorite going into the Sweet 16, the favorites won out 47-13
Yes.
in those games. So it's now for the bettors, this has been this has been like a fat man at the circus, basically, because you've got so much stuff. And now it's gonna culminate, put it this way. Take away just the game bets. How many is Mr. Flag gonna get? How whatever. I mean, and see, it just lends itself because look, there's probably some sicko alumnus from say Winthrop or whatever who had to play the 1-16 game that said they put down maybe a couple shekels to see their team go to the Final Four. Or maybe, or at least get to. Now we had a couple of 12 versus 5s that came up, but pretty much after the first round, it was like, okay,
Yep.
get them out of here, and let's whatever. Now aesthetically, the games were pretty decent. You're gonna get your blowouts and what have you. We're in half martial law down here in the state of Connecticut. The men's side is on martial law. The women's one are just happy happy to be there.
Yeah.
But the backlash of this, I feel, guys, is that with all the NIL whining and everything, that the NCAA is going to try to steal back the power from the tournament because if you look,
but it's not going to work, and I'll tell you why. 2 words: transfer portal. We talked about it the last time we were on the air. The transfer portal has turned into the Homeboy Shopping Network.
That's right.
Guys playing for
better deals there too than the Homeboy Shopping Network too as well.
Right.
Over 1,000 players are going already.
Yes, if a guy's
the best player, arguably the best player from Georgia is now at UConn.
Yes, if a guy's playing somewhere and there's politics that's forcing him into a second or tertiary role where he doesn't want to be, he'll transfer. If a guy has a personality conflict with a coach, he'll transfer. If a guy was promised he gets blown by a cheerleader before games and she don't do it, he'll transfer. The portal is the answer to all this stuff. And it go for coaches too. If a coach feels he's not moving fast enough, he'll transfer. He'll leave. And nobody can say no now because the NIL money will go where the player goes if he's that good enough.
I'm looking at you, Maryland, as Mike is saying. Saying that. Go ahead, Gary.
Robert Morris lost all 5 starters the transfer, all mine.
Look at all 5 of them. Damn, Gary,
Mhm.
they all walked out.
All mine.
Yeah.
All
Basically,
transfer.
the coach now basically has to do old Bill Cosby line. I'll just get 5 more, look just like you.
Well, we
Mhm.
got to give Gary credit because Gary told us 5-6 years ago about the plague of super conferences. You know, the SEC Invitational is truly what it was. 14 teams got into the tournament.
Yeah,
They didn't get in there because of their good looks. They got in there because of those letters, SEC, and they all got paid. How much money will the SEC make from the tournament? You got 2
Put
schools
it this
from
way.
already in the
Put it
final.
this way. I don't want to say that they're making a lot of money, but Juan Soto may ask them for a loan. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Wait, guys. 14 teams for SEC, right? For every win, they got $1.5 million each.
Exactly.
For
Yep.
every win.
Mm.
That's right. That's right. The longer you go, the more you make every round.
That's right. That's
That
right.
adds
Yeah,
about
yeah.
125 million for all the games that have been played. 125 million. And no matter what, their conference gets a kick from the tournament per se because they've gotten as far as they've got. So every team in the conference, whether they made it that, although all of them almost did, they get a piece of the action too.
That's it. Everything gets
go.
right on down the line.
There you go.
The
There you
team that
go.
wins gets
There
the
you
most
go.
money. And
Mm-hmm.
if who's in it, Duke will get the most money, but the rest of the money will go down the league.
Yes.
Sure.
I got no problem
Sure.
with that.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
You
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
you got a conference like the Missouri Valley Conference, right? You only got one team, and they played one game.
Mhm.
They were gone.
Yeah,
well,
yeah. But the
Valley.
crazy thing, Gary, that one game will help the conference
Mm-hmm.
as a whole. It may not, they may not win it or what have you, but in the long run, it helps them. I mean, it's unfortunate that, once put it this way, once they made this tournament top heavy, they basically said no more George Masons, no more Butlers, no more Loyolas, no more VCUs. With unless you can overcome all those odds,
Uh-huh.
it's not happening.
And Gary,
It's not happening.
I'm gonna give you a perfect example. You said Robert Morris lost all the stars. Last year, Seton Hall won the NIT. They lost 8 players. The record this year was 27 7 wins and 21 losses.
Wow.
So they
Yeah.
and they got to do something. He's out there trying to do his best.
Well,
Yeah.
the NCAA has lost its power. I think it's lost its power, and now they had to regain it. I'm not gonna do it.
Oh, they're not going to regain it in that sense. They're not.
No. Because see, remember, even the football playoff is run by the college playoff committee. The NCAA, the NCAA barely runs the bowl, the other bowl games, because everybody and their mama has a corporate sponsor for all of those games.
And
So
Tony, back that up. When they try something, there are lawyers from here to Brooklyn waiting to represent either league to say, no, you can't, because Supreme Court says this is a joke. We can't have this anymore.
That's right.
yeah. Not even our Lord and Savior Elon Musk could do anything about this at this point in time.
I
Right
want
now.
to
I did that for effect, but yeah, but yeah, it is what it is. We're running along, but we wanted to make sure we get the competition. We want to make the thing going. Going to do final thoughts right quick. Let me start off with you, Gary. Final thought of the night.
Well, I'm liking the beginning of baseball. I really enjoy the beginning of baseball because it's like a new spring or a new beginning. The Giants look wonderful. I like their pitching rotation. They may not win. They may not win the Western Division, but they're gonna make a good run at it. Um, I just want. I want them to chop down the cherry tree with the LA Dodgers.
Good luck with that.
Stop.
Oh, but Gary, remember, it is a but Gary, it's an even numbered year.
I know.
You got a shot. You got a shot.
Think
Who knows?
about this.
Yeah, Gary, I'm going to console Gary. Even though the Dodgers is 7-0, I rather have a 7-0 at the end of the season than at the beginning.
I heard that.
Well, in 2014, the Giants were 7-1.
Mm-hmm.
The same year they won the World Series that year in 7-1, 2014. It's 7-1 now. Can we do it again? I don't know.
How sacrilegious is it of an A's fan talking nice about the Giants fan?
Yeah,
My
I
God. Next thing you know, Gary, I might go to the Rangers game at the Garden for Christ's sake.
no.
You know, who knows? Yeah. Michael, go ahead. What's your thought for the day?
I actually have two, and one has to do with baseball. I spent a little over a decade in Vancouver, British Columbia, and I got my love for baseball re-energized by watching the Vancouver Canadians play. They were the AAA affiliate of the Angels, and then they became the A's affiliate. But the bottom line was, you could see a game for a third base box seat for $6.
Yep.
Canadian.
Oh my!
Yeah,
I could see a double header, complete with 2 hot dogs and all the other shit to drink. Spend $20, have a little bit of change left to play the 50-50, and that was a day. That was an evening entertainment. You're not gonna get that where we're not. And I was there in Nat Bailey Stadium where they filled a league of their own. It's a beautiful stadium.
Okay.
I saw Jim Edmonds make some amazing catches there, just a prelude of the kind of stuff he was going to do in the majors and whatnot. And guys like Garrett Anderson and Orlando Palmeiro and Baby Dog Perez, all those guys were there, and I saw them. Leon Durham was the head coach. He gave me an autograph back for my younger daughter, Debbie. I was happy as a pig in shit. So baseball, you reminded me of the day when they used to give real bats on bat day.
Yeah.
You don't want that little bullshit, little dinky bats anymore. We used to take those bad boys up and go outside with them and whatnot. So if you want to do yourself a favor, get back to real bats on bat day. That would be one thing. And this just in, there's been a trade. The New York Football Giants have traded their number 3 spot to the New Orleans Saints, from which they're going to select Jackson Dart, quarterback from Mississippi.
What?
Here first,
they always find one, don't they? They always find one, don't they? Why don't they just give him number 8 and get over it? You know.
Exactly.
Twinkle Toes. Yeah, Twinkle Toes.
Good Lord, Patrick, go ahead.
Good talking with you guys tonight. Good talking. Even though I missed my workout, good talking with you tonight, man. Really good. I missed it.
Have an extra donut for me, by the way.
I'm trying to stay away from that, Tony. Thank you for killing me. A long time ago, people knew me from playing football. And I played in a very, very good Sandlot League. Western Slope Indians and a whole bunch of guys. When I left from high school and came behind me, there's one guy. His name who played quarterback, and it was unusual for a black quarterback at the time. But he was 6'3", about 180 pounds, and went on to play, made all county, and went on to play at Tennessee State, quarterback for 2.5 years. And then from there, what he did, he had a chance to 1 year to play with the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, that guy, grandson, is playing Saturday with Auburn, Tahid Pettiford.
Wow.
So I'm looking now. Tahid is from Jersey City. I covered him during the years where he was Southern Catholic. I had set up a special interview with him before he took off, but he got sick. So he got sick. I said, I went back to his head coach, said, yeah, we'll hook it up. But during that time, they flew him down to Auburn, hadn't seen him since. But Tahid, Petway, there's a legacy of athleticism, because that boy, tell you, Kenny Pettiford was at the wrong time, because he should have stayed in the league 6, 7, 8 years. But his grandson is doing great playing with Auburn.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's got to be fun. That's got to be a lot. That's got to be a lot of fun.
And that boy
Oh yeah, is he? But is he as good as Randy Watson though? That's the real question here. My thing for tonight is, for the 157th straight year, I've come to the conclusion that the professional basketball team that resides at 5th and 33rd probably not going to win an NBA title again. Everything was looking so good going into the season, but somewhere along, I mean, you know, it's besides the Brunson injury and everything. It's, I don't know. They just there's no cohesiveness or whatever. Bad, you know, they're not playing D. They're not playing quality D. And basically, you know, the two teams in the East, you know, they own them. And even if they were to get somebody like, say, Milwaukee or Miami in the first round, they might get by them, but they're going to be buzzard meat for the second round. And I'm not saying that they need to make wholesale changes or anything like that, but the one thing I was always afraid of when Tibbs took over, Tibbs is somewhat like Billy Martin without the drinking and the kicking the sports writers in the nuts.
Okay.
Teams start to stop listening to him, and I just get the bad feeling that even with all the guys that have played with him together and everything like that, it's just, I get the feeling that somewhere along the line that they have stopped listening to him, because even with all the talent on paper, they've just been wildly inconsistent.
100% correct.
Yeah.
I've heard that before. He's hit his feelings.
Yeah. He's a great and he's a very good coach. He's a very, very good coach, but he's everywhere he's gone, whether it was Chicago, whether it was Minnesota, there was always a shelf life with him. And I'm not advocating that they fire him, because, to be quite honest, I don't know who could actually come in there right now and light a fire under this team. I hope, as a Knicks fan, I hope I'm wrong, but unfortunately, I've seen this movie before, and every time Leonardo DiCaprio drowns in the end. So
where's the water?
I hope I'm wrong, but you know, between Boston and Cleveland, who you know, and if put this way, Kenny Atkinson doesn't get Coach of the Year this year, the award doesn't exist.
And I'm so shocked that first of all, he took the job, and I'm even more shocked by what he's gotten out of that team. I'm completely in awe.
They're the X factor. I mean, I've always stated you're the champ till you get beat, but Cleveland's got something. Even if they don't win it this year, they're not going anywhere.
They're not to be played.
They're not going anywhere. It's a good young team. They got a lot of cap space.
Yes, indeed.
So,
and they did it without,
you know, and the thing about it is, they're unique because all year I've been saying, who do they remind you of? Who do they remind you of? I can't think of who they remind you.
Yeah.
They're,
Yeah.
and I say that as a compliment because
Yeah.
they play a very unique style. And granted, they're smallish compared to, again, showing our age, they're a smallish team for the most part, but
Mhm.
they get the job done. They don't overdo the threes. And when they have to make a defensive stop, they do it. And to me, that's half the battle right there, especially come playoff time. Now, can they beat the Celtics in the 7-game series? We'll
Maybe.
see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll definitely see. But yeah, I'm actually happy for Atkinson because considering how he's gotten screwed over the years, where he's gone as a coach, it's nice to see that he hung out long enough to reap the benefits. And they're going to be, like I said, they may not win it this year, but they're going to be around for a while, barring injuries and silliness. But then and one last thing, Aaron Rodgers, go home.
Thank you very much.
Just go home.
Thank you.
Please
Go home.
take your
Just
old
go
ass.
home.
Thank you, bro.
You know,
you made
I mean,
you made enough money off New York for 4 lifetimes. Wait. As my boy Swell would say, sit your ass down someplace.
Well, isn't it amazing? White,
go away already.
42-year-old guy can play a couple of years, but a 35-year-old black guy, well, he's past his prime. I love how they stint the language to fit the script. The bottom line is, if Aaron Rodgers comes back, they will beat him down to the white meat. Take your ass home and retire.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead and do Serpico 2 like you're supposed to do, and let's get on with it. Let's get on with the rest of our lives. I mean, enough already. Enough already. Hey,
tired.
go ahead.
Please, God, I'm tired of that man.
Yeah. It's the man. I mean, he's beyond annoying. He's beyond annoying, and has the nerve to have an attitude because he's not going to be able to get top money.
Yes.
Stop it already. Stop it already.
And what? See, if they're paying him, you should arrest him because he's stealing. That's all I got.
That's right. That's exactly right. I'm white. Pay me. I don't think so.
There's an old line. There's an old NFL Films line from Sam Riccigliano when he was talking about the referees. That you should have kissed me because you damn sure did screw me.
That's that right.
I can't think of any way. I can't think of any better way to describe Aaron Rodgers the last 2 years in New York. Gentlemen, this has been fun as usual. We need to get together and do this again. I thank everybody for taking time out of their schedules to be able to do the show. We will be back again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
All right.
For Michael Lewis Ingram, for Patrick Farah, for Gary Norris Gray, and for Aaron Rodgers, wherever the hell he is. I'm Anthony McLean. Enjoy the rest of your day, evening, afternoon, wherever you're watching or listening to this. And as always, we will talk to you again soon. Good night, guys.
Peace.
Yeah.
Take care.